Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another album review. My name is Christian Eschbach. Hey everyone, I have had this album kicking around for a while. I have meant to do this album as a review for a while now. I had to bring up some notes and actually write out some notes for this one. We're talking about Frank Zappa, London Symphony Orchestra, Volume 1 and 2. Okay, so there's a few things I got to cover with this one before I even get going. First thing I have to cover, I hate the metadata on this one because for some reason it will not put this in Frank Zappa. It insists on putting it under Kent Nagano, London Symphony Orchestra. I don't know. I'm not sure why it does that, but it's really annoying. The other thing I have to mention is this is volume 1 and 2 put together. This is from the Ryko disc release in 95. I don't know if Ryko did remasterings in 95 or not, like proper digital remasterings, but the sound is really good. Like it is a proper digital remastering. I have bought other albums from that were from the Ryko release. My original copy of Shake Your Booty was from then. I had a copy of Apostrophe Overnight Sensation put together on one album that was also from them. Zappa did a lot of EP stuff like that. Now, the reason why I'm bringing all this up with this particular one is this one doesn't have the numbering up at the top, but even if it did have the numbering up at the top, it would be technically incorrect. And the reason why I say that is this album has been remixed. When it was originally released, disc 1 was released, and then or album 1 was released, and then a few years later album 2 came out. Specifically 83 and 87 were the two different releases, and that means there would be a significant difference in the number on them. But when this collection got put together, they changed the order of the tracks. So, and I'm not entirely sure why they did that because these were vinyl releases. So it really doesn't make sense because a vinyl release would have been no more than 45 minutes. So there really kind of was, unless they were hoping to get some type of balance out of it or something. I don't know what they were going for. For some reason, they messed up the order on here. And instead of presenting it in the correct order, because this is the rendition I have, I'm going to present it in the order I have on here, whether I like it or not. Whether you like it or not. So, we're talking about Frank Zappa, London Symphony Orchestra, Volume 1 and 2, as a single collection. And as it is presented on the Ryko release. Okay. So, we start off with Bob and Dacron. This has 2 movements. The whole way around, this one feels very Star Trek, the original series. And that happens a couple times on here. You're going to notice that I reference a lot of television soundtracks or scoring or cinematic or whatnot as I go through here. Bob and Dacron, it starts it off. He lets you know what you're in for. It's interesting. It's unique. It sounds different than you would expect from a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, it does remind me of Star Trek, the original series. The music that was on there. Not the theme music itself, but the music you'd hear throughout the episode and stuff like that. Then we go into Sad Jane. This one has a definite story you can feel on its own. It really, the first movement has 2 movements on this one. The first movement really takes you kind of into the depression or sadness that's going on. Really kind of brings you into that vibe and that frame of mind of the character of Sad Jane. The second part gives an energy and almost an exuberance to it. Like one trying to escape from a depression, but not getting out completely because it has almost kind of like a melancholy like ending to it. Mo and Herb's Vacation. This one has 3 movements. Realistically, if you've ever seen the classic Disney short, that has Donald, Mickey, and Goofy, where they're pulling a camper trailer behind them, and they're doing that thing going up the mountains and whatnot, and all the craziness going on while they're doing that. That's what this one reminds me of. Completely and totally reminds me of that. Like every time I listen to these three movements, that's all I think about is, that wacky traveling journey kind of thing. It has very much that Disney-ish kind of cartoon vibe going on. There's even parts of it where, if you've ever seen Fantasia, the opening of Fantasia, where they're talking about the instruments and how they're playing off and stuff like that, there's a little bit that in that reminds me of that too. So those are the three songs, tracks, however you want to look at it. I mean, it's actually, each movement is actually its own track, but the three parts, pieces, let's call them pieces of classical music. So Bob and Dacron, Sad Jane, and Mo and Herb's Vacation. Of those three, Sad Jane is probably my favorite because it's the one that sounds honestly the most kind of classical of all of them, the most true story without being cartoonish, without being, I don't want to use cartoonish when talking about the original series of Star Trek, but, when you look at how the music kind of sounded, that had that kind of classic cartoonish kind of sound. When we get into disc 2, we're into Envelopes. This one, very Looney Tunes instead of Disney. It's like when Bugs Bunny and Marvin the Martian are kind of going back and forth with each other or whatnot. And if not Marvin the Martian, Witch Hazel. I'm not sure how many people know who that is, but that was the witch that once in a while go up against Bugs. That's kind of what Envelopes makes me think of, where they're kind of running back and forth with like the potions, or where they're running back and forth doing things to each other, kind of that kind of vibe. Pedro's Dowry, out of everything on these two albums, this is the one I like the least. It's very erratic, it's very frantic, and it sounds like, once again, we're back to doing Star Trek, the original series. Like, it's when Kirk is kind of like battling an alien. I don't want to say like when he's battling the Gorn necessarily, and not necessarily when he's battling with Spock either. Not that kind of, no, not that, but more of that kind of just, out having problems with aliens, getting in the fights with Klingons kind of thing going on, But the whole way around, most of these songs, when you go to the titles, I mean, Bob and Dacron, okay, not really so much, but Sad Jane sounds sad. Mo and Herb on Vacation, I told you right away, it makes me think of the camping trip with, the Disney guys. And, so that tells you that I'm getting, the music. Envelope, same thing. It's a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth kind of thing. So, same thing. Pedro's Dowry, I don't hear the dowry in it. I don't hear the Pedro necessarily in it either. Like, it's not doing anything that way for the storytelling for me. Bogus Pomp. This one, mostly due to the length, really has a classical feel to it, and it's a lot less like a movie score. This one clocks in at like 23-ish minutes, I think, something like that. I really enjoy Bogus Pomp while it's playing, but I'm going to say that Bogus Pomp probably does the least for me out of all the songs on the album. Only because I guess maybe it is the most kind of cliche, most classical. So it doesn't take me on a journey like some of the other ones do. I don't know. And then it all finishes off with Strictly Gentile, and I do very much enjoy this one. It feels like a nice, normal classical orchestra piece. Really kind of has a great vibe to it. All right, so at the end of it, and I know I didn't say much about Strictly Gentile, I really enjoyed the piece. But at the end of it, would I recommend this album? No. If you're a Zappa fan, yeah, okay. I mean, as a Zappa fan, as someone who is a completionist when it comes to Zappa, well, not a completionist, but as somebody who's working on becoming a completionist when it comes to Zappa, yeah, it's something you gotta have. I don't. It's not for everybody. Um, I don't. It's not even for everybody that's into classical or instrumental music. Even if you are into Looney Tunes and old Disney short music, then yeah, maybe. But if you're looking, Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, you're looking for like someone doing new stuff. This is definitely kind of new stuff, but it's not. I don't think it's what people are going to necessarily be looking for. If you're looking for something different, something interesting, something that you really haven't heard before, then yeah, once again, it's a good one. I know I bought this album used. I do not remember how much I paid for it. Uh, if I paid more than $15 for it, I'm upset with myself. But I don't think I did. I think I probably paid like 10 or $12 for it. And even at that, I'm kind of so-so. If it wasn't for the fact that it's Zappa and I want Zappa, and there is a lot as a musician who likes to write in various musical forms, I can learn from this. So there's a lot to take from that. And I do actually listen to this quite a bit. I will throw it in the CD player, especially like on a Sunday afternoon or something like that when I just want some music in the background while I'm doing some stuff. Perfect for that. I've had it on while I've been playing Grand Theft Auto just to get some listening done on it, and that I don't recommend. Does not work well for Grand Theft Auto. Anyways, folks, my thoughts, my opinions, my views. Let me know what you think down below. Drop me a line. Let me know what you think. On your way down, you're going to see a couple links. Check those out. There's a like button, subscribe button, a little bell for notifications. Hit those. Otherwise, peace, love, take care.